Let's try something since we have an open parking lot. I'm gonna drive, and as I'm driving, I'm just gonna get out.
All right. Okay.
We're gonna try to ghost ride it.
Okay.
It's not gonna work.
Okay. So it's in drive. He's not gonna put it in park. That is wild.
Right?
Today's episode of Regular Car Reviews is sponsored by Factor. What is Factor? Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep. The team of gourmet chefs create each meal using only ingredients with integrity to help you feel your best all day long. Factor has been a great sponsor for Regular Car Reviews. It fits my lifestyle perfectly. I'm always editing, always working out. Sometimes we have marathon editing days because we got to go on trips for later. So I have a choice either to just not eat anything, which sometimes I do, or to get pre-made stuff. Ugh. As much as we all love gas station food, being car enthusiasts, it isn't good for you. Factor supports wholesome eating made simple. Their menus are uploaded weekly and include 27 plus meals and 33 add-on options. Choose your favorite meals or let Factor craft your order based on your taste preferences and meal history. They offer keto, calorie smart, chef's choice, vegan plus, veggie options, which include seafood, meat, and plant-based meals. Your meal is delivered fresh. Yeah, this is good. Never frozen to your door. Just heat, eat, and enjoy. Factor meals can be heated in the oven or microwaved in minutes. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code REGULAR50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. Once again, head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code REGULAR50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. 2020 Volvo C40 Recharge. Best EV of 2023. Buy this one. Better than an Ioniq 5. Better than a Model Y. Buy the Volvo. See, Volvo removed all of the ta-da EV gimmicks, like making you shift into drive by completing 2 side quests for Mr. House, or turning on your air conditioning by seducing Diane Foxington and learning how to get pegged in the classical style. A Volvo C40 is just futuristic enough with minimal interior lines and a big screen, while remaining contemporary with a movable shifter that clicks through gears with the same familiar phoniness as hard driving. The best arcade racing video game in existence. I will pay $100 for 1 hour with this game. Seriously, Retroware, Justin Silverman. Are you listening? Ugh, that realistic gear shift and stepper motor. Okay, on the other hand, the start button is your butt. There's no start button. Put the fob in your pocket, sit down, and the car is on. Shift into drive, go. And when you're done, put it in park and get out. Or don't even do that. I'm not sure if this feature is idiot-proof. You know, the stories we hear of people getting out of automatic transmission cars where their car is still in drive and the engine's still running and, oh no, there it goes into the Susquehanna River. Or if Volvo is daring the universe to build a better idiot. Power? Perfect. 402 horsepower and 487 pound-feet of torque. Just enough to hurt your neck under full electrons. And if you have a cool friend who works at a Volvo dealership, well, they can hook your C40 up and make it as fast as a Polestar 2. A Polestar 2 is a C40 with Make Motors Go Faster code. I hear you. Volvo is intentionally nerfing the C30 to protect the Polestar 2. In the same way that GM nerfs everything with an LS engine to protect the Corvette. But do you need over 500 foot-pounds of torque at every green light? Yes, I do! Yeah, I do too. But here's something else. Your tires. The tires on my Kia Niro EV are wearing down surprisingly fast. And I know why. I'm max zapping at every green light. Every time I'm first in line at the green light, guess what? It's the mongoose and the snake every single time. I keep it in economy mode. I keep traction control on. That way everything works its way out and the tires don't spin. And EV traction control is perfect because the software and the electric motor, well, they're talking the same language. That means the traction control software and the drive motor can keep the tires at the absolute limit of traction to maintain maximum acceleration. And you can hear this. Miata drivers know this sound well. That barely audible tire squeak. The compound in the tires just starting to slip a little bit too much, but not enough. But the tread is not letting go. Those outer layers are just, they're right. They're right in the weight room, lifting to failure. But not yet. I'm still hanging on. I got one more. Oh yeah, yeah. Do you know the enemy? Do you know the enemy? We're gonna know the enemy. Well, hey. And that's every green light. I'm doing that in a Nairo EV. And you're going to be doing that in a C40 Recharge. How long are your tires going to last if you have my self-control? Frickin' fun, though. You know, owning a Volvo doesn't mean living in a cul-de-sac and underwriting your wife's affair with her spin instructor. And owning an EV doesn't mean you have to constantly use hedging language when you talk about it. Oh, it's pretty good for an EV. It handles well enough for an EV. It feels like a real car for an EV. That placating local prejudices. I feel that I have to do that. I feel I have to do that when I drive my Nairo around and I run into someone who goes, So that's an electric car. What do you think about those things? And I don't want to tell this old man who's talking at me, not with me, at me. I feel bad telling him that I love this thing and it's fantastic and I don't have to be at gas pumps and listen to you. It's great. I put gas in Susie, the camera car, once a month. I fill up my Galaxy a lot more, but for my everyday driving, this is fantastic. Do I use fast chargers? Not really. It goes in an 80-mile radius around my house. Great. I'm spoiled to death, and I wish I would have bought one of these things sooner. It's fantastic. But I don't say that because I feel like I need to protect the feelings of old men because I feel they hold some sort of power over me. Gosh, there's a lot to unpack there, isn't there? Well, anyway, you don't really need to talk about the Volvo C40 Recharge in the same post-apocalyptic tone of a person trying to justify listening to Insane Clown Posse. You don't have to convince strangers you piss standing up, even if it's perfectly natural to want to pee sitting down, because you never know when a situation will escalate to Defcon Brown! Defcon Brown! Defcon Brown! Basically, you don't have to defend yourself in advance of being judged. And not just because anybody who judged you for driving electric probably isn't worth your time, but because there isn't even that much to judge here. That's the magic of the Volvo C40. In sitting inside it, it feels like your average internal combustion crossover. Now, I don't know that crossover body styles are anybody's favorite, not even for Midwesterners who send over a sympathy tater tot casserole to their neighbor's window. But this is better than all other EVs, particularly in build quality. This still has normal vents and instrument panels. It has the reassuring feel of notches and sturdy materials. It's tech forward without being tech excessive. Techsensive? Techsensive. I'm trademarking that. Its interior feels heavy and solid and all-encompassing. It cradles you, makes you feel safe You know how a mom will say she just wants to feel safe?
I just want a car that will make me feel safe.
Like, it doesn't matter if the car is safe, just as long as it feels safe. Ford's been selling Explorers this way since before real big fish sold out. That's the C40. But it is safe. Well, if you ignore the insurmountable fire hazard creeping up from the bottom, if, in the unlikely event that lithium-ion battery pack gets a piece of rebar shoved through it. I don't really worry about that kind of stuff. In the same way I stare at people who have a fear of flying. I know it's a common fear, and I understand it, but it also strikes me a little bit as narcissistic. What, do you think you're so important you're going to make the plane crash? What, do you think you're the protagonist of a Final Destination movie? That if you buy an electric car, suddenly there's going to be booby traps everywhere? Suddenly the roads are going to be filled with rented trucks full of track and field equipment? And they're all gonna, suddenly the doors are gonna fly open out of the back, and javelins and pole vaults are gonna fall out, and somehow they're all gonna shove their pointy ends through your battery, and then your car is gonna explode like an EDM light show. We're all fine with rolling around with tanks of napalm. That's cool to us. I just like stuff that stays the same. I'm getting off topic here. Well, there's nothing I can say that'll create a placebo for the anxious, like a cheap home security system.
A burglary takes place every 30 seconds in the United States, with upwards of 2.5 million burglaries occurring every single year. Yet only 25% of Americans have a home security system. Studies show that homes with no security system are 300% more likely to be targeted by home invaders. Protect your home with the best of the bare minimum. Protect your home with Placebo Home Security. In today's economic climate, the costs of home security systems are unsustainable for most Americans. This is without even addressing the complexity of equipment that demands you enter a code the moment you enter the house and before you go to bed. Come on, Barry. You don't even remember your Netflix password, and you're going to remember a multi-digit PIN for something that doesn't spit money at you? And now you think you can defend your home from people who are literally driving past your house as we speak, waiting for the mail to start piling up? No, you want Placebo Home Security. Placebo Home Security hasn't been rated by the Better Business Bureau, but we have been rated by the Federal Bureau of Investigation as, quote, a business to keep an eye on, and a business that is definitely up to something. For half the price of those bougie, nouveau riche home security systems, we'll set up something that sort of looks like a camera, but isn't a camera. But it's also not a hollowed out flashlight, although what it is could be mistaken for the word flashlight if you rush your vowels. Motion sensor lights? Not on your life, twerp. We have a motion sensor dog. Get too close to the front door and you'll be greeted with 92 decibels of a German Shepherd named Chicken Orzo. 24/7 monitoring? Too expensive. With Placebo Home Security, you get our award-winning 12/4 monitoring at half the price. Direct response police and fire? Get the f*** out of here with that nanny state baby back bullshit. If they try to get into your garage to steal your Volvo C40 Recharge, our system will make a whole bunch of racket that wakes up the neighborhood so that after he escapes with your car scot-free, he'll think twice about ever trying that again. We won't make your house a fortress, but we will make it less appealing to burgle with our vacation package. Our diversionary discretion team will come to your house with baseball bats, break your most fragile valuables, bust out your windows, and scatter your clothes all over the floor so any potential burglar will slink away in disappointment because some other asshole got to your house first. We'll rub the paint off your car with steel wool and splash it with salty water and vinegar. No use stealing a car that looks like it's falling apart. We'll even pre-steal your catalytic converter so they don't get any funny ideas. Because at Placebo Home Security, we don't believe in living life at the mercy of statistics. Oh, there's a home invasion every 30 seconds, but only 2.5 million burglaries every year? Kiss my whole ass. I don't even get down with math like that, and I know that's some fairy tale hogwash. Give your family the peace of mind that comes from having a home security sign on your lawn. Make the call to Placebo Home Security today. Placebo Home Security. Why be safe when you can feel safe?
But back to the Volvo C40's Artful Simplicity. It's a car whose minimum obligation is that what it offers is enough. Its excellence comes from the ability to say, you don't need a dedicated performance EV. You think you do, but you don't need it any more than you needed to text your ex for closure. You're just being selfish and wrapping it in a tortilla of convenient narcissism. Look, this doesn't even have drive modes. You think you need drive modes? No, you need to get bent. You get motion. You get adequate power. You get how much does the gas go? 94 city and 80 highway. There you go. How long does it take? 37 minutes. Fast charging. Well, how much of your 8 hours at home if you got 220 in your garage. You get a motor in the front and a motor in the back and a 74 kilowatt hour battery. And you get a, come here, man, I want to talk to you. Come here, I want to tell you something. From retired neighbors who want to ask why they never see you at the pump. I got a rant about those guys, but that's for a future video. Those, come here, I want to tell you something. Commanding old men. Ugh. Okay, let me correct myself. It doesn't have drive modes. It has usage modes. But they don't really mean anything to performance. The modes are mostly limited to controls and features. Passive mode will shut off functions automatically after a certain period of inactivity. Comfort mode means you can use stuff like the center display, the 12-volt power sockets, the USB ports, the Bluetooth, and the power windows, while things like the infotainment system and climate control start automatically. Drive mode, meanwhile, just means that everything is operable from jump. That's it. It's the car of the future, if the future is 1996. You want an electric Volvo with sex appeal? Go drive the Polestar 2. The Volvo C40 is not for you. This is the automotive equivalent of a superhero whose origin story is getting bitten by a radioactive middle school principal. He's got a gym membership and a meal plan powered by a broken heart and a bank account too small for a wish fulfillment sports car. But he's got gumption and a raging boner for reinvention. Because for some people, reinvention is not a performance for the person who chose to let them go. Sometimes, reinvention really is for themselves. It's not for other people to see. It's for you to appreciate when you look in the mirror. The Volvo C40 is the electric car for people who don't care about the badge. You want an electric car more than you want to be seen driving an electric car. If you want to be seen, buy a Tesla. This is the car for you if you're not using the valet at the King of Prussia Mall just to end up being sandwiched between more Teslas driven by workaholics who jerk themselves into a sound sleep in the guest room while they pretend to have a marriage that would survive unemployment. The Volvo C40 doesn't command attention the same as other EVs because it doesn't seem to recognize that it is one. In presentation and performance, it offers you a spark notes of the EV experience. Enough to get the feel of what full-time EV ownership would be like, but without overwhelming you with the strange and unfamiliar. And that's its strength. It is get in and go. There's no learning curve. But there's depth to this driving experience beyond what you might expect. And I know, people praise the XC40 or the Polestar 2 as the superior Volvo EV. But this stands on its own. It's fast, of course it's quiet, it's comfortable, and it's unassuming. But again, the hit you take with this is that it's not much to look at. It's got that low raked roof in the back. A rear windshield smaller than a Belgian lunch break. the smallest truck that can still be classified as a trunk, and coloring that shows dirt all over because it's the same awkward shade of blue all over. It's bland with an aspiration towards flavor, like Arby's horsey sauce. But that vanilla styling almost lends itself to a certain home comfort, even if you recognize the limitations built into the technology. Your butt cheeks being the on switch means you can't really tailgate this, because if you get out, accessory mode turns off and you can't leave the radio on. Sure, Volvo has a reputation for appealing to a more reserved kind of driver. The type who doesn't mind sitting in the Chick-fil-A drive-thru for longer than what you can justify for what you're getting. Volvo is exactly the automaker whose EVs would get overlooked in this electrified climate, because how could a Swedish automaker pull this off? And yet, that's what they did. Maybe the range isn't ideal. Volvo claims a range of 249 miles, but Ben tells us he's never once gotten over 230. My Niro, if I'm not using the heater or air conditioning, can get 315. But these cars are serving different clientele. Even at a top speed of 113 miles an hour and a 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds, because even a Niro EV and the C40 Recharge have kind of the same top speed, my car only goes 103 miles an hour and this goes 113. But my car has a 0 to 60 time that I timed in the real world of 7.5 seconds, and this does it in 4.5. So that's where your electrons are going. But the C40 is also an EV that doesn't require you to say, it's an EV, but on one hand, issues with the technology are well documented from C40 owners online, from TCAM module problems to frequent software updates, laggy infotainment screens, and if that's a deal breaker, that's absolutely fair. You have a right to want things that work from jump. I'm not even saying this is perfect, but it's the best EV I've driven in 2023. It's an experience that justifies itself over any shortcomings you might come across, because even at a starting price of $48,000, you never feel like it's an unreasonable price point for what you're getting. It's an EV for a guy who doesn't need God's love so much as he needs man's understanding. But odds are no one would really understand why you got this until you let them take it for a spin. Appearances don't speak to what this is, and you could say that's true of individuals. Do any of us share appearances with our capabilities? Or are we all books with unjudged covers? The Volvo C40 Recharge invites judgment from appearances, but on the open road, it's quick to put up an argument in its own defense.
That's funny.
Let me do it one more time so I don't slam on the...
You think I'm not using that clip?
Come on. Let me do it smooth.
Okay, hold on.
And put these down because those headrests were up before, and so the visibility was even worse. And then he just puts them down. He's like, there, it's slightly better. And I'm like, I can still barely see anything.
Yeah.
That's why, it was a good thing that we had that full 360 on the infotainment.
Can you get a still picture of me just like this?
Absolutely.
Landscape style?
Oh, landscape, yes.
Yeah. Just to prove that this is just a tank slit out the back.
Yeah, that's...
Like, this is a case for augmented reality.